Hi, my name is Jessica Pinkston, and I run an events company based in Washington, D.C. called the Secret Life of Daydreams. And today, we're going to answer the web's most asked questions about wedding planners and wedding planning. Let's jump in. What do wedding planners do? A wedding planner is really there to walk alongside you and to make sure that everything goes smoothly on your wedding day. Absolutely, they handle logistics and give advice on tradition and work with your vendors and make sure that everything is set up properly. But I really view wedding planning as making sure that the couple has a good experience from when they decide to start planning their wedding or we get involved to when they're leaving at the end of the night. Do wedding planners save you money? Yes, a wedding planner can save you money. They can look at your orders or your contracts and make recommendations for how you can save. They can help you to get creative on ways you can meet your budget. They can make recommendations for vendors that are going to be within your budget. So yeah, a wedding planner can help you save money. Do wedding planners help you find a venue? Yeah, they can. Most likely they are very aware of the venues that are in the city or the state that they're working in. And if they're working in a place that they're not familiar with, they know the places to go to find a venue that's gonna work well for you. So they can help you do that sourcing. And then even depending on how you're working with them, they can also go with you on walkthroughs of venues and kind of make recommendations for how you can arrange or lay out the space and help you to bring your vision to life for what you're looking to do in your wedding venue. Do wedding planners work from home? Yes, so long as you have an internet connection and a telephone, you can do wedding planning. You know, in non-COVID times, we might be at food tastings or walking through venues or meeting with clients in person or other vendors, but you certainly do not have to have an office to do this job, which is one of the great things about it. Do wedding planners need a degree? No, you don't really need a degree. What's really critical in event planning is that you get experience. So I think the focus is more on trying to get experience from someone who has been doing this for a while, or being really patient with yourself as you figure it out. But working through an event all the way through from beginning to end, interacting with vendors, dealing with event disasters, and whether you come out of them unscathed or you come out of them having nightmares, all of that can still help you to be able to do this job really well. And while it's good to have a foundational knowledge of event planning through a degree in event planning, there's nothing that really replaces the experience of being on site and working through an event from the beginning to the end, or even just on site. I mean, in terms of degrees, I have a degree in business. Sarah has a degree in interior design. I've worked with wedding or event planners who've had a degree in geography. So you don't necessarily need a degree in event planning or wedding planning to do this job well. Are wedding planners necessary? It really depends on what you want your wedding planning experience to be like. Do you want to be able to, step outside of the details and kind of enjoy the experience of being engaged and planning your wedding, knowing that somebody else is able to help supplement that? Or do you want to be in the weeds and working through all of the pieces yourself? It's really your preference for what you want your experience to be like. But the thing is, you hire a wedding planner because you want an expert. The way that you hire a photographer to take really good pictures instead of having your friend, use their phone to take photos of your wedding. You can do that and you can get some really good photos, but it really just depends on what you're looking for and what you want your experience to be like. The one exception to that, as I think about it, is that some venues do require that you have a wedding planner or day of coordinator to make sure everything goes smoothly on site. That is the one exception where it is absolutely necessary, but that should be in your contract and you know that in advance. How do wedding planners work? Wedding planners, most likely wedding planners or a wedding planning company is going to have a variety of services that they loop into different packages. So it could be something like month of or day of, where we step in, and put the finishing touches on the wedding and then handle everything on the day of. Or at Daydreams, we offer partial, which includes month of, and then also includes working directly with 2 vendors on behalf of the couple, and then working on budget, timeline, and design as well. And then there's full service, which is pretty much you only work with the wedding planner. You don't interact with any vendors. They help to source venues for you. They pretty much collect all the information and then bring things to you to make decisions. And they are your one-stop shop, and they're with you from beginning to the end of the entire wedding planning process. And some companies and planners will only do month of, and some will only do full service, and some will offer all of that. So it really just depends on the planner and depends on the event planning company. Where to start with wedding planning? This is a good one. A lot of people might say, figure out where you want to get married, work on your invite list, talk to your parents. All of those things are very important and are critical to the wedding planning process. What I say is more critical is thinking about what you want your wedding to be like. When people step into your wedding, whether it's a ceremony or reception or any part of your wedding, how do they feel? Do they feel like they're being invited to dinner over your house and they can have conversations in the corner with people, and it's just very calming space, and they feel like they could sit there for hours and soak that up? Or are they coming to a party? Is there food and a bar and dancing for 4 to 6 hours? Is that what you want? Or do you want something in the middle of that? Or do you want something completely different from that? What do you want from your wedding? When one of your guests goes back to work on Monday and someone's like, oh, I know you went to a wedding this weekend. How was it? What are they saying about your wedding? How are they describing it? Like, what do you want that to be? And start with that. Get on the same page with your fiance, with your planning partner, and your life partner. Make sure that you guys feel the same way about what you want out of that. Because then when you go and you contact a venue, or you contact a wedding planner, you contact a photographer, you contact a caterer, all of us are going to be asking you questions that are really trying to drive at what are you looking for and what do you want, so that then we can go back and make that happen. And a lot of the stress in wedding planning can come from not having fully fleshed out what that looks like and what you're looking for, because then people are just asking you a lot of questions that you don't have the answer to. Is wedding planning stressful? I think yes, it's stressful, but there's like a spectrum of stress, from a little bit stressful to one of the most stressful experiences of your life. And there are a lot of factors that go into where you end up on that spectrum. But as I said before, one of the fastest ways to make sure that you're on this side of the spectrum, on the less stressful side of the spectrum, is figuring out what you want, so that you can communicate that to your family, to your friends, to everyone else. And it also helps you, as you start to get in the weeds of planning, to understand where you're starting from, of what you're going for and what your goal is, and then to design all of your work and all your interactions with your vendors and your family and your friends around, like, this is what we're going for. Realizing that as you start moving the process, that might change, but at least you have a place to start, and you've thought about it and thought that out. Is wedding planning supposed to be fun? Yeah, it's supposed to be fun. It's supposed to be a celebration of the fact that you've found the person that you want to spend the rest of your life with. And there are a lot of ways that celebration can look, but the planning of it, and certainly the attending of it, is supposed to be fun. And there's a lot of stuff that can get in the way and that can add stress, but it should be enjoyable. There should be joy in what you're doing. And if things get so stressful that joy is being diminished, and you're in the middle of the planning process, it might be time to stop, reassess what you're doing, because you don't want to arrive on your wedding day and be so stressed out that you can't be there in the experience because you're so stressed out. Is wedding planning a good career? I think so. I think it's very special. There's nothing like working with a client from the beginning and you don't really know each other and you're kind of like feeling each other out, and then going through the trials and tribulations of working on a wedding to like giving them a hug at the end of the night and at the end of their wedding night, and having gone on this journey with them. There's something that's really special about it. And there's also something extremely rewarding about seeing your work manifested in person that I really love. And I think it just makes it's a really special job to be able to do. Those are the web's most asked questions about wedding planning and wedding planners. Thank you so much for joining me.